Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. This video is part of our deep dive series, and we are diving deep into these guys' favorite team, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, baby.
I'm sure they're very hyped for this. I am too. So we're going to start by predicting every game of their schedule. So who would like to call off the games for us today?
Tyler's gonna do it, I think, today.
Yes, Alright, I think
Tyler will be doing it. We're gonna get started right away with the first week, the first game of the season. Thursday night against the Packers. I give it to the Bears.
I do too.
And me as well. Week 2, away against the Broncos. Give it to the Bears.
The Bears win.
Bears win. Week 3, away against the Redskins. Bears win.
Bears lose.
I have Bears winning. Week 4, home against the Vikings.
I have Bears winning.
Bears win.
Bears win. Week 5, in London against the Raiders.
Bears win.
Bears.
Bears.
Week 6 is their bye week, early bye week for them. Week 7,
Bears win.
home at Saints, or home
At Saints.
home
against the Saints. I think they win that game.
I think Saints win that game.
I think Saints win that game. Week 8, home against the
I
Chargers.
think they win that game.
I think they lose that game.
I think they lose that game. Week 9, away against the Eagles. I think they lose that game.
I think they win that game.
I think they win that game. I want to beat the Eagles.
Week 10, home against the Lions.
I think they win that game.
That's a win.
That's a win. Week 11, away against the Rams.
That's a loss.
That's a loss.
I'm going to say they win that one. Week 12, home against the Giants.
Win.
That's a win.
That's a win. Week 13, away against the Lions.
I'd say they win that game.
Win.
Win. Week 14, home against the Cowboys.
That's a win.
That's a win.
I say they lose that one.
Hmm?
Week 15, away against the Packers.
Say they
Loss.
lose that game.
I say they win. Week 16, home against the Chiefs.
Say they lose that game.
They lose that game.
They will lose that game. Week 17, away against the Vikings.
I
That's
think they
a
win
loss.
that game.
I think they win that game
They
as well.
swept them last year. They can do it again.
All right. Does anyone want to start with the record predictions?
I'll give it a start, I guess. That sentence made no sense, but we're going to give it a start. My record for the Bears is a 12-4 record. No, I believe that's the record that they went last year. That's the record that I would predict them to go again. I think that's the Bears is a 12-4 team to me. No, I hope they're better. I really do. But to me, they are a 12-4 team, which in the NFL, 12-4 is a good record. But as it come recently, you have to get better than higher than 12-4 to have a really good shot at getting to a Super Bowl, aka getting a first round bye. Because a lot of the first round byes are ending up being the Super Bowl champions. I think the last time one of the wild card teams won was the Giants or something. I don't know. That could be
Sounds
a
right.
completely incorrect fact. But so I have 12-4 for the Bears. That's right where I put them. I think the Bears are going to be a decent team, but we're going to get into all that stuff later. So I'm excited.
All right, I've got the Bears going 10-6, and I know it's a little lower than Jordan had, but I really think that that division is always a good division that always seems to beat each other up. So I've got them going 4-2 in division play, 8-4 in conference, 6-2 at home, and 4-4 on the road. And really, I have the Bears starting out great. I have them starting out 10-3, and I know you guys won't like to hear this, but I think they're gonna have a little mini choke in the last 3 weeks of the season, going from 10-3 and being contended for a first round bye to going to 10-6 and being a wild card. I know you guys are probably wanting to beat me up right now, but hear me out, because really, I think their toughest games might be in the end. You know, I think they're going to be 10-3, but then at Green Bay, that'll be a back and forth game, but Green Bay will pull it out. And then the Chiefs, I just think Patrick Mahomes is going to outduel Mitchell Trubisky. And then this Week 17 Vikings game at Minnesota will be for the division. The Bears kept the Vikings out of the playoffs in Week 17 last year, but Minnesota gets all of their revenge and wins the NFC North. I've got the Bears being the first wild card, the 5 seed, going 10-6. They're still a good team. It's just that first place schedule is going to be very tough for them because, you know, they got to play the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Saints. And I really think, I talked about this in our NFC prediction video, Minnesota is going to give them some trouble. So give me the Bears going 10-6.
All right. Well, I'm right in the middle of both of you guys. George, you said 12-4. Ryan, you said 10-6. As I said, I'm in the middle. I'm going to say 11-5 for the Bears. They do have some difficult games on their schedule, as Ryan was pointing out. And when he was saying the last 3 games, that is kind of worrying to see. I do think they will be able to win one of those games at least. Actually, I don't have them winning any of those games. So, Ryan could be right about that. Those are going to be 3 tough games. Actually, no, I do have them winning 2 of those games. Never mind.
You good there?
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Hello.
I was thinking left side, right side. Doesn't really matter. Anyways, that is going to be difficult for them to do in the last 3 weeks, but I think they're going to be able to do it. 11-5 seems pretty accurate. They're going to take a small little gap downwards from last year.
Gap downwards.
I don't know what that was supposed to mean. But I do think they're still going to be a pretty solid team. 9-3 in the conference, 4-4 at home, and 7-1 away. So there it is for the Chicago Bears.
All right. Ryan, you want to talk about the draft first? Then we'll get into offense and defense.
I do. So I've got a little newspaper here that is talking about football, and it talks about the Bears, and it says quality, not quantity. And I really think that's a very good title because the Bears didn't have a first-round pick or a second-round pick, but they still got a lot of quality players, headlined by David Montgomery. The Bears kicked off this year's draft. They traded up for him and took him with the 73rd overall pick. You know, he's a guy who I really think is going to kind of split the load with Tariq Cohen. You know, obviously they traded Jordan Howard to the Eagles this offseason. So I really think he's going to be a guy who could just kind of be more of a run-up-the-middle guy, while Tariq Cohen is a guy who's going to try and go outside and use his speed and elusiveness to try and get yards after contact. But, you know, I think David Montgomery is going to be a guy that's going to be good in the red zone. You know, if it's 1st and goal at the 3, I think he's a guy to watch out for. Or if it's 4th and 1, I think he's a guy to watch out for. He's going to be that guy that can get them a few yards when they need it most. A really good pick. I was surprised he fell that far. I had a 2nd-round grade on him. You know, really after Josh Jacobs, people's running back rankings were all over. I had him as my 3rd running back. So to get the 3rd best running back in the 3rd round is pretty good. I definitely like that pick, and I am really high on it. And then in the 4th round, and then later in the draft, they got Riley Ridley out of Georgia, and that is a pick that was a great pick. I don't know how he fell that far. Great guy, brother of Falcons receiver Calvin Ridley, who was taken in the 1st round in 2018. So really just a great guy that's going to add depth to their receiver position. You know, I feel like they need that kind of infusion of speed along with Taylor Gabriel. He's a guy who can catch. He's going to be good in the short game and could potentially be a downfield threat if he develops. Great pick there. So the Bears really have had great 2 picks so far as I'm going through their draft with 2 players that were steals in my opinion. So far so good as we're going through the Bears draft class. Then, you know, Duke Shelley, cornerback out of Kansas State. Not a big-name guy in round 6. But, you know, really, just honestly, once you get to the day 3 of the draft, you're looking for depth. You're not looking for guys to come in and be Hall of Fame level players day 1. And they did that. The Bears are a team that's pretty good in their secondary, but a little depth can't hurt. Nothing wrong there. And then later, they take another running back, Kerrith White, out of Florida Atlantic University. You know, adding depth to the running back position, I'm sure he's a guy who will try and be competing for that 3rd running back position in training camp and in preseason. Obviously, we've got Tariq Cohen and David Montgomery are going to be 1 and 2, but then the number 3 spot is really a question mark. So this guy, Kerrith White, taking 222nd overall, is definitely going to be in contention to try and make the team and have a significant role. So really, not any big-name guys, but just guys that are... What?
Still one more.
There's still one more. Let me look. Oh, wow, you guys picked really late. Stephen Denmark out of Valdosta State. Steven Denmark out of Valdosta State. You know, as I talked about, the Bears are a team with a solid secondary, but some depth is never a bad thing anywhere, but especially in a position where guys, like, you just need them to perform. The secondary is such a vital point of that game. If you don't have a good secondary, the receivers are going to be running down the field all over you. You're not going to win games very often. So really, he's a guy that I think is going to be competing to make the 53-man roster throughout training camp. That's often how it is with 7th-round picks, so we will see if he is on the final roster. I don't know. I mean, they drafted him, so they obviously like him, so expect him to get a lot of time playing in the preseason. So that concludes their draft. So I'm just going to say, correct? Am I right this time?
Yes.
No really elite talent, but some guys who could develop to be great players down the road. For not having a 1st or a 2nd-round pick, I think the Bears did a pretty dang good job making a quality draft with starting in round 3. They got a couple of steals, as I mentioned. David Montgomery and Riley Ridley should make immediate contributions to this offense and help Mitchell Trubisky develop in year 3. So really, solid job by the Bears making something out of their situation, which was difficult because of the Khalil Mack trade. So good job by the Bears draft.
Good job. I'm talking about the Bears draft. And now I'm going to go into the offense. Tyler's going to do the defense, but I'm going to talk about the offense right now. So it's exciting for me because I love this old Bears team. But I don't know. I chose to talk about the offense. So to start, as you would with a lot of offensive, you start with the quarterback. The Bears quarterback is Mitchell Trubisky. Now this is going to be his third year as a starter, if you count the year that he didn't start the full season.
12 games, right?
But this will be his if you want to say starting full season, this will be his second full season starting year. In that sense, did it make very sense?
Actually, he got injured for 1 game last or 2
That's
games
true.
last year. He
That's
was a full season,
He's right. They won against the Lions on Thanksgiving.
and then lost against the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to talk about that. But so
Good chance.
I'm trying to talk about Mitchell Trubisky here. I've
Sorry.
been leading up to trying to say something, but I'm not. Now I'm going to though. So Mitchell Trubisky, he's a young quarterback. He's not a major name. He's not that a name that like is scary to all teams that look at him. They're not going to look at Mitchell Trubisky and like, oh, they're not like, we gotta watch out for him. But they're not going to be. He's not like a really elite quarterback in this league yet. I say yet. I do like my guy Mitchell Trubisky. He knows how to scramble. I love a quarterback that can scramble. It's just so fun to watch a quarterback that can scramble. He knows how to do. He can throw on the run. He's got a really good arm. He's got one of the best arms in the league. And a stat about Mitchell Trubisky, he actually completed the most 50-plus yard passes in the past season. So that just shows the arm that he has and shows that the Bears are not afraid to take shots downfield. So I could talk about Trubisky for a while, but I'm not going to because there are other people on this team.
Really?
Yeah, they actually are.
There's 52 others.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go to the running back position now. Now, Ryan covered a little bit about David Montgomery, the guy that they drafted. I really like him. A really good draft pick, especially with Howard leaving. So I think that David Montgomery is going to be that first down guy. And then they're going to bring in Tariq Cohen for maybe like second or third down. If they need short yardage, they might bring in Mike Davis, who they got from Seattle on really short yard. And then, of course, what the Bears always did, what they did last year, is they just threw other running backs in certain times that they think that running back is necessary. So the other two running backs are Taquan Mizell and Kareth White Jr., as Ryan talked about, which they probably won't be on the team at the end. Both won't be at the team at the end, but we'll see.
A lot of depth at that position for sure.
Yes. Then we talk about the offensive linemen. The Bears have a pretty good offensive lineman. I'm not going to name all the players off, but I'm just going to talk about the offensive lineman as a whole. I do know all the players, but I'm not going to do that. They're just a pretty good offensive line. No, they're not an offensive line that you look at to be one of the most elite again, as we talked about before. But they're pretty solid offensive linemen. They're pretty solid offensive line. They've been able to do pretty good things for the running backs in the past years. Jordan Howard's been having some pretty good years as he was here, but he's not here anymore. So we have a good offensive line. And I allow people to say we because I think fan bases are a part of a team.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's a very good opinion you have there.
Thank you. Next, we talk about the wide receiver position. Now, the wide receiver position for the Bears is not one of the most elite in the league, but they do have a lot of depth in it, and they do have a lot of different people and different receivers. It's just very, very complex for defenses. So I'll talk about probably the number one receiver this year, who's going to be Allen Robinson. He came from the Jaguars. He was injured. He was on the team last year. So he's just a good receiver. I'm not going to go into depth about every single receiver. We have Taylor Gabriel. He's a speedy guy. Anthony Miller, who was a rookie last year. He's a good player as well. We got Cordero Patterson from the Patriots. I don't think he's going to be much of a receiver. I think he's going to be more of a special teams and special plays kind of guy. He might come in there whatsoever. We talked about Riley Ridley being drafted. And then there's a lot of other wide receivers that I'm not going to name because there are a heck of a lot of them. But I do know some of their names, but I'm not going to name them off to you. Then we're going to go to the tight end position. I know my Bears, okay?
I know, but I'm not going to say it.
And then we go to the tight end position. We have, as of this point, 2 tight ends that will probably play a lot. So we have Trey Burton, who is our number 1 tight end right now. He's the guy who's going to be out there for most of the normal plays. And then Adam Shaheen will come in there. He's more the red zone guy. When they're in the red zone, he's big. He could get up high. jump over people. He's more of a Jimmy Graham type of guy. Trey Burton's more of an every play kind of tight end. So that's going to be fun to watch. I don't think I'm missing any positions here. No, I'm not. So that's it.
Good
All right.
analysis.
Now that he's done, we'll send it over to the
Also,
defense.
Tyler, talk about special teams.
special teams.
Yeah, we should do that.
Okay.
Talk a little about special teams.
All right. That's an interesting
Especially
one
with
with
the
the
Bears.
Bears, especially.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna start off with the inside linebackers. The rookie they got, not rookie anymore. He's a sophomore now. But they got in the first round of the previous draft, not 2018 draft. Roquan Smith, a
Just
very
gonna point
solid
out real
player.
quick. I got his jersey. I like him. I think he's gonna do good things.
I do agree with you. I think he's going to do great things. He could be one of the Bears have always had a legacy of having great linebackers. Most recently being Brian Urlacher. I think he has the potential to be the next great linebacker. And then there's also Danny Trevathan. So 2 solid inside linebackers. Now we go to the outside linebackers, starting with Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd is another one of these guys that has not been able to show very much. He's been injured for a lot of his career. This year is, I think, the first time he's coming into a season without an injury. He was drafted in the first round by the Bears a couple years ago. He hasn't lived up to potential. I do think, however, that this year I would not be. They extended his 5th-year option, actually. So he's going to have to prove it. I think he will be able to. Then we'll talk about, there's also Aaron Lynch. I'm not going to talk too much about him. And then, obviously, Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, I've used this word twice today. We filmed a couple videos. He's an absolute beast. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? The power that he has on the line of scrimmage is absolutely insane. I think he's the second best defensive player in the NFL behind Aaron Donald. So, absolutely great things there with Khalil Mack. Eddie Jackson now. I'm going to talk about the safeties. Eddie Jackson is the first safety I'm going to talk about. Eddie Jackson was one of the best safeties in the league last year. I think that's pretty obvious. Let's see if he can keep it up this year. A lot expected from him, more expectations. I think he's going to live up to them. And then also the new safety they got this year after losing Adrian Amos to the Packers. They got Clinton Dix. It is a tough loss to lose Adrian Amos, as Ryan said, but I think that he's a solid player that will be able to do great things with the Bears. I'm going to keep going down this list. Just do it by position. All right, we've now entered the DB stage. I'm going to talk about another guy they got in free agency, Buster Skrine. It's spelled Skrine, but it's pronounced Screen.
I know how with pronunciations. Are you sure that's how you say it?
Yes, I am.
All right.
It's also Alvin Kamara.
Yes, there you go.
All right. Buster Skrine is a guy that came from the Jets that was a solid player. Yes, that's really all I have to say about him at that point. And then we do talk about Duke Shelley. Could be able to do some nice things with the Bears. I'm going to continue to go down this list. All right. The defensive ends now. Keem Hicks I'm going to start with. He made it to Pro Bowl last year. Had a solid year. I believe he's going to be able to do it again. Bilal Nichols, also a lower profile guy that has shown a lot. Going back to the cornerbacks, I did forget about a couple of cornerbacks. I'm just realizing now. Prince Amukamara I'm going to start with. Once again, not really well known, but still solid. And then there's Kyle Fuller. He had the most interceptions in the league last year. So there's that. They almost lost him to the transition tag 2 off seasons ago to the Packers, but luckily for the Bears, he stayed with them. Steven Denmark as well. And yeah, I think that is
Tackles.
everyone. Oh, did I forget the tackles?
Forgot the tackles.
I'm so sorry. All right, I'm gonna go find the tackles on this list really quickly just to make sure
You know one of them. Start talking about the one.
I don't miss any of them.
Make sure you know both of them, but I mean like defensive tackles.
Oh, I
like
was so
defense
confused
backs.
for a second.
Yeah, what?
Okay. Eddie Goldman is one of them. Is this what you're talking about, defensive
Oh, there
tackles?
he is there.
Yes. Eddie Goldman is one of them, also another solid player. Yeah, I already talked about Akeem Hicks.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he?
We'll have
I don't think
we'll have to review the play.
I don't think you talked about Akeem Hicks.
I did.
You talked about the right. Maybe I'm wrong. Sometimes I tune him out.
All right. So there's the offense for the Bears. Anyone else have anything to
Offense?
say? Or
Hold
defense?
on.
Defense.
Sorry.
And you're supposed to do special teams.
Oh, special
too.
teams
You're a little
also.
bit flustered, aren't you?
Yes,
Like
you,
a
you frustrated
butterfly.
me because you made me confused because I thought I already did the defensive tackles. But apparently not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we get into the interesting part. Special teams. We're gonna start with Cordell Patterson, who they got for special teams. Tariq Cohen, one of the better punt returners in the league. Now let's actually get into the interesting part. The kickers.
Oh, Bears kickers.
Oh, yikes. All right, so we all know, or you should know, I mean, I held back the tears on that fateful day where Cody Parkey hit the post
Oof.
and the crossbar. I might start crying once this video is over, but that's not the point. Anyways, so the Bears have brought in a bunch of kickers. They brought in 8 originally. They are now down to 2. It was 3
Down
before.
to.
It was 3 before. They recently, meaning a couple weeks ago, got rid of Chris Blewett. He blew his chance.
Ha.
I mean, it's in the last name. They're now down to Eddie Pinero and Elliott Fry, and they're doing a lot of interesting things with these kickers. They're putting so much pressure on them, having the entire team be quiet and watch them make kicks from the 43,
Yeah.
where that's where Cody Parkey missed it. Just putting so much pressure on these kickers, which it can kind of get overwhelming, but they want to find the right kicker, and hopefully for the Bears, one of these 2 kickers could be the right kicker.
So as Bears fans, who do you think it is? You think it's Eddie Pinero or Elliott Fry?
I think it's going to be Eddie Pinero.
I agree.
I agree too, only because they traded for him, and I feel like if you trade for a kicker, you probably won't end up cutting him. That's
Yeah.
just how I feel.
All right, so there's our deep dive into the Chicago
Yes.
Bears. I'm not sure how long that one lasted. But
We're sorry if we talk too much. We just get a little excited about our Bears.
Oh yeah, for
Brian
sure.
gets excited about his Texans.
I
we get
do.
excited about our Bears.
I could talk about an hour for the Texans, but trust me, you don't want to hear that.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoy the deep dive videos. We're getting a lot of views on these ones, so we're going to continue to make them. We have a fun time making them. So yeah, we will see you guys later. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.